Well, you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And when there are death threats against a judge whose house then burns to the ground in a fireball of flames and smoke, it's kind of reasonable to assume that foul play could be the cause, or is likely to be the cause. And if you've been calling out Democrat judges as part of left wing terrorism, now might be a good time to take that rhetoric down a notch. Unless, of course, you're Stephen Miller, then apparently now is a good time to see no evil, hear no evil. As the home of a judge that is married to a former state Democratic senator and who recently blocked Trump, her house just exploded in flames. There's a lot going on here, and this is a developing story. So hit subscribe to Really American Media, and let's unpack what we know.
An investigation is underway after the home of a South Carolina judge went up in flames over the weekend. Take a look. It happened in Edisto Beach, about an hour south of Charleston. The home is owned by Judge Diane Goodstein, who serves as the state circuit court. Officials say 3 people were injured in the fire, including Goodstein's husband, former Democratic State Senator Arnold Goodstein. Judge Goodstein made news last month after issuing a ruling blocking South Carolina from handing over millions of voters' personal data to the Department of Justice.
Yeah, so I'll just underscore that as of now, we don't know the cause of this fire. But here's what we do know. Someone on the scene had said that there was an explosion, which, could be how the fire started or a result of the fire igniting something. But here's the thing. The judge's house was the only house in the area to catch fire. And in this day and age, homes rarely explode unless it's from a natural gas explosion, which is why all natural gas has that rotten egg smell added. Yet the house full of people presumably detected no such smell because nobody had evacuated or called for help. And the fire spread very quickly as the judge's husband, former South Carolina Democratic State Senator Arnold Goodstein, had to jump from a window and suffered multiple broken bones. 2 other people, including the judge's son, were also injured in this quickly spreading fire. We know that according to local news reports that this judge had been receiving death threats since Judge Goodstein, who was taking a walk when these flames erupted, issued a temporary restraining order to block the Trump administration's Department of Justice from getting access to South Carolina's Election Commission's voter registration data. And that sparked some outrage. Immediately after that, a state attorney general there, who works under Pam Bondi, posted this online saying, quote, "This Justice Department will not stand for a state court judge's hasty nullification of our federal voting laws. I will allow nothing to stand in the way of our mandate to maintain clean voter rolls," end quote. And then just hours before this fire at the judge's house, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller posted this, saying, "The issue before us now is very simple and clear. There is a large and growing movement of left-wing terrorism in this country. It is well organized and funded, and it is shielded by far-left Democrat judges, prosecutors, and attorneys general. The only remedy is to use legitimate state power to dismantle terrorism and terror networks." And then shortly after, this happened.
Well, this large house fire that you see behind me hospitalized multiple people on Edisto Island today. And we're learning that it happened at a house addressed to a South Carolina Circuit Court judge. This afternoon, I spoke with nearby witnesses as they described what they saw in the immediate aftermath.
And you could see the flames from the beach.
This video shows flames engulfing a house off of Planter's Retreat on Edisto Island. Colleton County Fire Rescue assisted multiple agencies in fighting this fire. They say 3 people were taken to the Medical University of South Carolina in downtown Charleston. Their injuries are currently unknown. Shortly after the fire, Olivia Crosby told me that she and her dad saw it all take place just down the road from where they were staying.
He said it was so hot he couldn't even cross over the bridge to get there. But he said he couldn't do much because the whole house was already on fire and just the heat from the fire.
And keep in mind, Stephen Miller has previously made statements against judges like this, saying that these judges are breaking the law to block Trump.
The judge's order was patently unlawful. Beyond unlawful, it was an outrageous assault on the Constitution, an outrageous assault on the sovereignty of the nation, and on democracy itself.
Yeah, so given how highly suspicious this fire at the judge's house is, and given all of this left wing terrorism talk coming from Miller and Trump, it should come as no surprise that people are starting to point the finger at his baseless rhetoric being directly or indirectly to blame for this. New York State Congressman Dan Goldman, who is a Democrat, has started his own firestorm by posting this on X. Quote, Trump, Miller, and MAGA world have been doxing and threatening judges who rule against Trump, including Judge Goodstein. Today, someone committed arson on the judge's home, severely injuring her husband and son. Will Trump speak out against the extreme right that did this? End quote. And again, not all of that has been established there about arson or who's to blame. But Stephen Miller immediately replied, I think that we should wait for the facts to come in, but I, of course, denounce any acts of political violence, especially against the judicial branch of government. I'm just kidding. He did not say anything level headed like that. He instead replied, You are vile, deeply warped and vile. While the Trump administration has launched the first ever government wide effort to combat and prosecute illegal doxing, sinister threats, and political violence, you continue to push despicable lies, demented smears, malicious defamation, and foment unrest. End quote. To which Goldman immediately replied, Now try answering my question. If you're trying to combat political violence, why don't you condemn the political violence against a judge who ruled against you and your administration? It's pretty simple. Do you condemn all political violence or only that against your supporters?
The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
Yeah, meanwhile, in South Carolina, at the scene of this, again, highly suspicious fire, locals want answers, and so do the rest of us.
Locals say that they were deeply concerned for everybody's safety.
We were worried for the people, but also we were concerned that it was going to spread.
It was just scary, and we hope that everyone was okay.
Tonight, we received a statement from state court officials saying, quote, Chief Justice John W. Kittredge is aware of an incident involving Circuit Court Judge Diane Goodstein. At this time, SLED is on the scene and will be investigating as soon as the fire has been contained. Local law enforcement partners have been alerted and asked to provide extra patrols and security. The judicial branch will remain in close communication with SLED.
Yeah, and as always, there's a lot of finger pointing and denials happening online. I've seen a lot of MAGA types saying that we need to wait for the facts to come in, which we did not see them saying at all after the Charlie Kirk killing. And the same MAGA types are calling this judge a libtard. It's very helpful. But I'll just highlight this one post that says, quote, This is where the hypocrisy hits like a freight train. The same people screaming law and order will melt down the second a judge rules against them. Then suddenly the judge's name, address, and family end up plastered online like a target. And when violence actually happens, they pretend it's just some random act. If Trump and his crew don't come out and unequivocally condemn the attack on Judge Goodstein's home, then it's not law and order that they care about. It's power and intimidation. You can't wave the flag with one hand while lighting the match with the other.
You can hear this thing burning.
Yeah, and with that, I'll remind you again, it's a developing story. We don't know if it was arson or not, despite what Congressman Goldman said, and we're going to continue to cover it all right here. But let's be real here. Based on what we do know as of now, it certainly looks more likely than not that this judge was targeted. But time will tell, and how Trump reacts will be telling. So please like this video, comment below with your thoughts, and get vocal. From the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve podcast, I'm Steve Harness for Really American Media.